What? It's week number one, where our sentence begins, Matt. The NFL season is upon us. Hi, I'm Bob Harris. He's Matt Waldman. This is the Feel It or Fuck It podcast, and we're going to do some of both. I can assure you that, people. You can find him at Matt Waldman on the social media platforms of choice. Also at mattwaldman.com, where you'll find the rookie scouting portfolio, which includes, by the way, some beautiful in-season content for Dynasty investors. We'll have a little Dynasty discussion here today. And also find his work at Football Guys, where you'll find my work as well. You can also hear me on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio now more than ever.
Fantasy Notebook.
Good luck with that. Fantasy Notebook and Football Guys every single week too. That changes a little bit. I moved back to Thursday now from the weekend, but
hot seat.
Always something in there for you. No hot seat this week, but I'm going to start doing my live streams on Saturdays pretty quick, and so it'll be an hour of just taking questions from the peoples, which is one of my favorite times of the week. So look forward to that. But again, 7 days a week on the Sirius XM, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern time on weeknights, 7 to 10 on NFL radio on Saturday, and then the pregame show from 11 to 1 on the Fantasy Channel. So there will be no escape, people. Also, Mondays here, feeling and fucking yeah. All right, that's all I got. I think I've burned through all my energy already. Now I'm going to take a nap.
Sounds good on a Labor Day.
All right. Yeah, it is Labor Day, by the way. Happy Labor Day. Happy holiday to everybody. Yeah. So we're going to start out there with some news this morning. Jaylen Warren gets a new 2-year extension, includes $12 million in guaranteed money. Feel it or fuck it, he's now the Steelers' back. Dynasty managers should be investing in.
I'm feeling it, but not the back. He's a back that you should be investing in. He's a back. Because I think that they like what he can be, but he's kind of like Devonta Freeman from about 10 years ago, or maybe a little longer, where if they need him to be the every down back, he could probably give you a season or two of that and maybe even give you Pro Bowl caliber work behind a good line. But they want to pair him with another guy, more of someone that they can use in 2-down situations and goal line situations and closeout situations. And I think that back they're hoping to hang their hat on is Caleb Johnson. So could there be a 1-2 punch for Pittsburgh with Warren? Yeah, absolutely. But a lot of backfields have 1-2 punch type of backs, and it works out quite well for fantasy GMs. Detroit is one of them. Minnesota will probably be one of them. Miami
Pittsburgh has been one of them.
Pittsburgh has been one of them. So there you have it.
Right. I'm feeling that as well. He is a back to have. We'll see what happens with Caleb Johnson. It seems like a slow start, but we shouldn't let that panic us, people. Rookies sometimes take a minute or two to get up to speed at the NFL level, and he seems to be an ideal fit, as Matt Waldman will tell you often and regular for this offense. Kayshon Boutte. Let's get into this now. Tom Cran, NBC Sports, put out some provocative predictions. I'm not sure how provocative they are, though. I've talked to some people in New England, some beat writers, Tom King of the Nashville Telegram. I don't know that he'd have a huge argument. Well, he'd have one minor argument with this, but let's throw it out there. Kayshon Boutte will outproduce Stephon Diggs. Feel it or fuck it.
I am absolutely feeling this. I like Kayshon Boutte coming out of school. There was a gambling issue that kind of submarined his draft stock, but this was a guy that I felt was a very good flanker slot type of receiver who could win in the middle of the field after the catch, very good adjusting to the ball, decent route runner, and he ended up being a late round pick and didn't really do much in his first year, and people thought, wow, what a bust this guy is. And then they plug him in at the absolute worst position that he would be, at least the worst role of the three that he could possibly have as a receiver, as a split end, because he's not unbelievably fast. And he played well. And now, you're hearing from Tom Curran that basically Boutte he looks better than Diggs. He looks like he's making all these contested catches. His hands seem better. He and Drake May do very good work in the red zone and the 2-minute drill. And he expects Stephon Diggs to be basically a 5-target per game receiver, more like 4 to 6. That was what he said, and then went to 5. And then instead of being like an 8 to 10 target guy. And he says that Boutte, he wouldn't be surprised if he outproduces Diggs. And I can totally see that from the range of where Diggs' career is probably heading, and where Boutte he still has that trajectory on the up side. So I'm feeling it, and I've moved him up my rankings. I've added him to the Football Guys subscribers contest, at least to my team. But I have like 20. I have nearly 30 guys on my team on that subscriber contest thing. So, but for $2, why not?
I'm waiting to see what Mike Dempsey's doing with his team before I go too far. And of course, he's not going to tell me until the contest starts. So I got that going for me. I've been hearing this about Boutte. This is not the only report we've heard similar to this. I said Tom King of the Nashua Telegram said, well, I asked him for the top 3 target shares on this team when it's all over. Hunter Henry was his first. He says Henry is locked in with Drake May, and he's going to be busy as hell. He had Diggs and Boutte next, neck and neck, and he had Demario Douglas in the mix as well. So, I mean, I like seeing a universe where Kayshon Boutte comes out of nowhere and does something is not exactly him coming out of nowhere to do something. So if you see it happen, people, we have been warned. It's a cheap investment. I started investing in him in drafts late, last few weeks based on some of this information. I don't know if I'm going to throw him in any starting lineups this week, but we'll see. What about Demario Douglas? Curran says he will be a 120 target option. You feel that or fuck it?
Yeah, I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that more than the Hunter Henry being locked in as the number 1 target in this offense. Just because, I mean, Henry is probably locked in as the safety blanket and certainly can be a viable option. But I would think that Douglas probably offers more in the fact that they seem very intent on getting him the ball. And Curran's looking at the 120 targets on that. I'm a little bit more on that side of the fence from that standpoint. So yeah, I'm buying into it, and it makes him a player that you're certainly thinking wide receiver 3, a healthy wide receiver 3 in fantasy.
That seems reasonable. There was a time we all thought little Pop Douglas was going to be a thing. Maybe he still will be. That's the thing about football. Sometimes the things we expect, the fantasy people, we're trying to be really smart, and sometimes we're a year or two ahead. And maybe it never happens, said Calvin Austin III. I don't know. We'll find out soon enough.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Hold on. Wait a minute. Fuck that noise. Fuck that noise. We haven't even started the season yet. Man, I'm
throwing blows. Elbows have been sharpened already.
Listen, I'm gonna have to start lifting some knees.
Panthers wide receiver Hunter Renfrow. Renfrow is back with the team. He will be a fantasy factor this year. Feel it or fuck it.
Fuck it. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that they felt like there was a lot of inconsistencies with how he was playing in practice. There were moments where he looked like his old self, the prime Hunter Renfrow we saw with the Raiders, and then they felt like there were lots of drop-offs in between, and they didn't feel like it was good for him to actually be on the roster at that point. The only reason they brought him back is that after they cut Renfrow and traded Adam Thielen, Thursday afternoon, guess who comes up with a quad injury? Jalen Coker. So I think that Renfrow is basically a desperation addition of someone who knows the offense, who can give you some spot play, but I don't think you're going to get starter play out of him.
Yeah, Coker. Now the talk was yesterday, or just some reporting yesterday, that he could miss up to 6 weeks. So that puts a sad damper on the fantasy celebration there. I guess you're feeling that.
Yeah, I'm totally feeling that. I mean, I had him as I thought he was going to be maybe a wide receiver too, or sneak in there possibly. I still think at the end of the season he could be that, but you're going to see guys like David Moore and Jimmy Horn Jr. and Xavier Legette pick up the slack.
See, I think this is the problem. It's feel it or fuck it. Outside of Tedero McMillan, we'll include Jatavian Sanders, tight end, been drawing some heavy praise and a lot of talk. He's ready to make a jump. Outside of Tedero McMillan, there's nobody here that's starter worthy in fantasy. Feel it or fuck it.
I'm feeling that, and I might even add Tedero McMillan into that mix too, and just say they're going to. I think the most startable players are the running backs, Chuba Hubbard, and Bryce Young. That's basically, and then the rest of the guys are matchup values, and we're going to hopefully be able to provide you with some film help. Which guys are probably the best matchups based on what defenses they play. But that by the time we figure that out, Jalen Coker will probably be ready to come back.
Jared Goff struggled with pressure, but he has the second largest QBR decline last year when pressured versus having a complete pocket. Feel it or fuck it.
All right, I'm going to criticize this whole little like analysis point a little bit and just say, does he struggle with pressure because he had the sixth highest QBR overall, and that his decline was the biggest because of pressure? I would say that could suggest that he's not good with pressure. But when I started to look at his pressure statistics and his blitz statistics, I would just say he was just really freaking good. And then the dip was enough to put him in the upper middle of the pack.
Let me jump in on this because I think I think that's been the knock on him throughout his career, right?
Right.
But then last year, I mean, there were games, week 6 against the Cowboys. Next Gen Stats had him completing 6 of 7 passes a while under pressure. Cowboys were blitzing like crazy in that game. It was a blowout, and they blitzed every single down just about. 6 completions, had 170 yards and 2 touchdowns. A week later, against the Vikings and Brian Flores doing his crazy Brian Flores-y stuff, Goff had a season-high 51% of his dropbacks under pressure. He completed 10 of 11 passes for 164 yards and 2 touchdowns on those plays. I think what you said is correct. So fuck that.
Yeah.
He's not horrible under pressure. It's just when you cherry pick stats, that's how it happens.
Yeah, and now if QBR includes fumbles, he did have 7 fumbles, and so that's an issue. But like against the blitz, he was 70% against the blitz in a completion rate. He had more yardage against the blitz than Sam Darnold, than Kyler Murray, than Patrick Mahomes, than Brock Purdy. Lamar Jackson was the only one who was high.
Why do you hate Jared Goff? The guy who's finished the last 3 years as quarterback 7, quarterback 10, and quarterback 7.
Sean McVay and the media that's kissing his ass. That's basically the people who hate Jared Goff. Detroit doesn't hate Jared Goff. They love Jared Goff. Against pressure, I'll just say this: 51.7% against pressure. That's, let's see, third highest of the top quarterbacks I sampled this summer looking at this. So, I mean, you're looking at a player who, he threw 8 touchdowns against pressure. There were only 3 other guys that were better than that. So, yeah, we're done with this. I just wanted to give you some context of the numbers that were like.
So basically, we're both on the fuck that.
Yeah, fuck that noise.
All right, let's move on to something else we can either feel or fuck. Caleb Williams will be a top 5 NFL quarterback sooner rather than later.
Oh, absolutely believe this. And I would say the interview recently with Ben Johnson confirms our priors that we've talked about here, is that Ben Johnson is coaching this team hard. He is basically starting, he's got young guys, and he's basically introducing his culture, and he's showing the Bears organization, fans, and media what it means to actually have a real coach. Exactly. He's got a real coach. When you pull everybody's ass off the field after Luther Burden lines up wrong and everybody else had little errors, you're basically telling, and no block, no rock, that type of rule. And Caleb Williams apparently told Ben Johnson he wanted to be coached hard. He wants to be a top 5 quarterback. And Ben Johnson said over the weekend, we're coaching him to the expectation of what he wants to be. So we're giving him hard coaching.
They are putting some really high goals up for him, 70% completion percentage, which probably unattainable, or like it's unreal. I don't know if it's realistic. I mean, it's not unattainable, obviously. But it is interesting that they're putting those numbers to, well, at some point. Yeah. But we've seen him already be a top 5 quarterback for our purposes. We got a little taste of it last year. When did that happen? That happened when Shane Waldron went away. Like the next week, and the great Thomas Brown took over as the play caller. And we had from weeks 11 to 13, Williams was quarterback 4. He averaged 22.4 points a game. In weeks 12 and 13 alone, he was quarterback 3, putting up 25.5 points per game. I'm not saying that Thomas Brown isn't Ben Johnson, but he's not the most creative play caller in the NFL, and Ben is. So, look, I like this one. Williams finished the summer with a quarterback 14 ADP. His projections are, at Football Guys, are quarterback 12. I've been drafting him as if he'll outproduce that. I've been drafting him as about a quarterback 10, and I think I might get better numbers than that when the season's over. So there. Go ahead. You can argue.
Why the fuck would I argue with that? I like it. I like
Beaux
it.
Collins
I feel it.
Beaux Collins could be the number 3 receiver in New York. for the Giants.
I'm feeling that this year. He could be. Long term, fuck that. Beaux Collins was a nice prospect at Clemson when he first got recruited. Didn't really do much. Wound up at Syracuse, wound up at Notre Dame. And I don't know. He offers you some size and some contested catchability, but I think he's closer to Colin Johnson than he is to being like a big time fantasy option. So sizzling camp, that Bucky Brooks said that he had. We'll see.
Journeyman with bright moments.
Yeah, he's a journeyman with bright moments, I think at best.
Right. I'm kind of with you there. Maybe less so there on Gunnar Helm. Will he be the long-term starter in Tennessee by the end of the year at tight end?
It's very possible, because if Chigo Okonkwo can't hold on to it and be the player that they thought he was after his rookie year, then Helm certainly offers that upside. He's a Hunter Henry-esque type of player, not someone that I would get unbelievably excited about, as a year-to-year dynasty option. I wouldn't be trading for him in dynasty. I wouldn't be, but he's one of those guys that, if you wind up drafting him because you think, in any given year, I'd be okay with him as a starter on that end. But he's not an anchor for your team. No,
absolutely not that. But I think the reporting has been interesting on him out of Tennessee and also on Okonkwo. The season, basically, I think Easton Freeze wrote, the season is really make or break for him. How he performs will go a long way to whether the Titans look to extend him or not. Helm's development plays into that decision. You have to feel their confidence in what they've got before moving on. It seems like they're gaining that confidence. So I'm with you. I think it's entirely possible. Not chiseled in stone yet, though. Chigo Okonkwo still has some say in the matter. Payne Durham, with a Y, not an I. Payne Durham is the tight end to have in Tampa Bay if K-Dot can't play this week. Feel it or fuck it.
I'm feeling that idea. Kokift might be the guy who gives you more yardage, but in the red zone, Durham is the guy. Durham has maybe some of the best hands of any tight end that I've seen. He's a great tight coverage receiver in the short area of the field. He's very quick for his size. He's just not very fast. So he's someone that also has basically endeared himself to Baker Mayfield as a guy you can go to in those situations. He's endeared himself everywhere that he's gone, whether it was in Buford High School in Suwanee here down the road, or whether it was at Purdue or now in Tampa. And he's that sneaky play. If you find yourself desperate that you just got to add somebody quickly, remember Payne.
Yeah, Kate Otten was that sneaky play last year when there was no Mike Evans and Chris Godwin both. Kate Otten was tight end 2 over the 3 or 4 game stretch, getting like a 28% target share. So yes, Baker Mayfield not afraid to use the tight end. Malik Washington in Miami has fantasy value this year. Feel it or fuck it.
I'm starting to feel it. The fact that Tua Tagovailoa said, look, he's done such a great job of understanding the offense, and meanwhile we got Tyreek Hill saying he still doesn't quite understand the offense. So that's
not a captain. That's the big news today.
Yeah, not a captain. Yeah, Washington has been a real pro, and he's someone that gives you, like we've talked about, Santana Moss type of upside. I think he's a guy that you want to hold on to, and he's becoming a more and more attractive late round play because of the fact that the Tyreek Hill situation seems a little more volatile than we'd like it to be. And we know that whether it's Hill or Waddle, if one of them gets hurt or one of them gets traded or whatever, Washington might be able to step in either one of those guys' place and be an every week starter.
And there's vacated targets there with Jonnu Smith, who dominated at times last year. Yeah. And I don't want to base my entire opinion on a single play I saw in preseason play, but I saw a really nifty run after the catch for a touchdown. And I went, whoa.
That's what he does.
Right. Yeah. That's what they've been talking about. I think more than I saw a single play, I saw a single play that confirmed what people have been telling me for a while. So always interested to see that. Donovan Edwards, the Commanders, could be a player to monitor now that he's in Washington.
I kind of think so. He's probably on the practice squad at this point. He's one of those guys. He had a spectacular season at Michigan while he was playing with a partially torn quad, and then just kind of got buried under Blake Corum, and then after that Khalil Mullings, and just really didn't become the player that a lot of people thought he could. But he can catch. He has great speed. He's a tough dude. He's just he's one of those guys that probably plays best in a gap type of scheme or in an offense that's a little simplistic in terms of what type of roles they give some of their skill talent. And I would say that Cliff Kingsbury can do a good job of simplifying things where if Edwards needed to be used, he could give you value in the way that Ollie Gordon is going to give you value if he needs to be used.
We'll talk about that here. I just want to say in Washington, where we are, outside Austin Eckler, who, by the way, double-digit fantasy points in 8 of 12 games he appeared in last year, had some upside.
Oh, he's not dead yet?
He is not dead yet. His role will be consistent. But other than that, like Chris Rodriguez Jr., where basically whatever we think of him is mostly, oh, wow, he stuck around for a second year. Bill Krosky-Merritt, what we're thinking about him is, man, everyone loved him during the preseason. He was the beat writer's delight. But, other than that faith, there's not a lot of substantial evidence for me right now. Like, I'm drafting Krosky-Merritt. I've drafted him probably ahead of ADP based on the reporting and the people I've talked to. But do I trust that that's how it's going to play out? No, there could be many seismic shifts at the running back position in Washington before all is said and done here. Knowing, and maybe in Miami, Devon Achane is scheduled to practice, they say, this week. We have yet to see him. Listen to my Football Guys Daily Update podcast from Monday morning. I kind of dug into that. The part that's of interest is, we're all old enough to remember this time last year when Christian McCaffrey was good to go until he wasn't. And so we'll see. I'm not drawing a one-to-one comparison, but there's been a lot of silence. And until we see something, we should be watching out. So they brought back Jeff Wilson Jr., right? And I think Jermichael Hasty as well. But right now, Ollie Gordon II is the only healthy back on the active roster. Does Wilson's return put a damper on the Gordon excitement? And if you say yes, or if you feel that, I might have some fucking to do here, boy.
Are you threatening me?
No.
Are you threatening me? But no, I would say this. Jeff Wilson puts a little bit more pressure on Ollie Gordon to do well. Because if Ollie Gordon fucks up early, fumbles, can't find the hole, needs directions like Darren McFadden, which he occasionally did at Oklahoma State, needed that. They know they could put Jeff Wilson in there and play it safe, and we all know that Mike McDaniels his offenses are dynamic, but he's a play it safe dude. So I would say Gordon gets his shot, but Wilson is a healthy hedge. Yeah,
I should have prefaced all this by reminding everyone Jalen Wright is out for September-ish. We're being told after having a procedure. September-ish turning to October-ish, maybe so. We'll see. I've been liking Gordon. Remember 2 years ago, am I mistaken, or he was very good in college? And then last year, much less so.
He led college, and I think he led college in rushing production.
Yeah.
And then last year, he just looked lost.
This year,
and I even say 2 years ago, he looked a little lost too. But yeah.
This year, I've talked to some people in Miami. Most recently, Travis Wingfield, who he writes for the team's website, so you can take this with whatever grain of salt. But he knows what we're after as fantasy investors when I'm talking to him, and he says, "Man, this guy down the stretch this year, this is a guy you want to grab and stash if you have room on your roster. He's going to be a big part." So everyone thinks he looks the part. And, looking at him in the final exhibition game, he did definitely look the part. So we'll see. That's pretty much all I have to hang my hat on at the moment is the potential for opportunity and that he looks like he's a good fit and that he does have some production in college.
Bob, he's an athletic centerfold. Okay. So, that's
why I drafted him in round 16 of my last 4 drafts.
The biases there, you look at him running and you go, that's Lou Ferrigno with a football in his hand, and I think that they like that idea. It's just, again, if he can kind of put all the little things together that often fall apart in his game, that's the problem with him. So if he can figure that out, good for him.
Braelon Allen heading for a breakout season. Feel it or fuck it?
Fuck it. It's the fucking Jets, okay? I'm oversimplifying it. I think he'll do well enough that you can use him as a running back 3. He'll have some games that'll be even better than that. But I think as long as Breece Hall is healthy enough, Breece Hall is the better back. Braelon Allen is maybe the guy they want to hang their hat on, and they might politically hang their hat on it and send Breece Hall packing if the perception is that Hall doesn't play hurt or he doesn't play well when he's got injuries. And sometimes coaches do that either ignorantly or knowledgeably. You just never really know what end of the spectrum that is. But Allen's no Hall. He's a different type of back. But
he's a bruiser.
He's a bruiser. I think he's better than Rashawn Johnson. So, when you think of the Bears and the Rashawn Johnson hype, he can be a little better than that. But again, you have Justin Fields running the ball, maybe even in the red zone at times.
Correct.
So how great is Allen going to be?
Well, I also wonder how great Hall's going to be. A lot of his value comes from his receiving ability, and I don't see Justin Fields being a dump-off guy. He's a duck and run guy.
Yep.
And so there's that.
Or a dump to the tight end guy.
Right. That as well. I will say this. The talk has been all summer long that the coaching staff, Aaron Glenn and Tanner Engstrand, come from Detroit. They're going to use a Detroit-style backfield in New York, and that would be Breece Hall with the Jahmyr Gibbs role and Allen with the Montgomery role. I'm not here to pretend they're direct comparisons, right? But I am here to say we know what the coaching staff would like them to be. And I'll remind you then that, Jahmyr Gibbs last year, what was it, 14 games, I want to say, with playing alongside Montgomery, who missed the games with a knee injury. He was running back 5 when both of them were on the field, and Montgomery was running back 9 while he was on the field. So, again, not a one-for-one comparison, but if you, say, okay, take it down about 20 minutes, could we have a reasonable running back 2 and 3 level play here in New York in this backfield? I think that's a fair point. So, yes, feeling it for that particular reason. And the Jets are not going to be taking off. They're going to be running the football.
Yeah, and that infrastructure, that offensive line is nowhere near Detroit.
Yeah, 100% sure. So, yes. So think about that Detroit backfield and dial it back about 75%. All right, Damien Martinez remains a dynasty asset in deep leagues as he sits on the Seahawks practice squad.
Yes, he is. He's definitely an asset. He's a good football player who I think that the fact that they brought him back, he's someone that could wind up off the practice squad and in your fantasy lineup by year's end if injuries strike. He's a good football player who runs the scheme very well, powerful, smart, decent hands, and I think that they could go through multiple backs in this. I mean, all it takes is Kenneth Walker to have one of those funky deals that we've seen already with injuries, and next thing you know, Martinez is back on the depth chart.
I think you're ignoring the big factor here, George Holani. He deserves your attention. Feel it or fuck it.
I feel that too.
You feel that because he beat out your guy.
No, I felt that when he didn't beat out Kenny McIntosh last year.
Fair enough.
We were talking about him here last year, and I was like, George Holani's a guy to watch. And then Kenny McIntosh, they decided to keep that golf club over him and put him on the practice squad. But Holani's ran hard, and he did beat out Martinez. I think what happens is that Holani offers a little bit more of the Kenneth Walker element, which is more of that scat back who can run between the tackles, really give you a lot of dynamic ability in the open field. And he also is a good special teams player. So when you look at the bag that is that or the spice drawer that is the running back room, George Holani offers something that Martinez doesn't on special teams. And he also offers redundancy to Kenneth Walker in that, Zach Charbonnet doesn't. Charbonnet and Martinez are more alike, and Holani and Kenneth Walker are more alike.
Fair enough. We'll see what happens with all that. We'll find out soon enough.
All right. You sound pissy.
There's a game Thursday.
Right.
The Micah Parsonless Cowboys will go to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. We've got a Friday night game from Brazil with the Chargers and Chiefs. Then we got a full slate of Sunday and Monday games. It's here, and we're here as well. We'll continue feeling. We'll continue fucking. We'll haggle. We'll kibitz. We'll argue. We'll agree. It'll be a great season, and we're happy that you're joining us. Find our work at footballguys.com. Find Matt's also at mattwaldman.com. Find me also at SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. Both of us are on the social medias, whether you use the X platform, the Blueski. He's at Matt Waldman. I'm at Football Diehard. We're easy to find. Come get us. Feel us. Fuck us. Do whatever you want.
He's over there.
Ah, there's the big boy.
There we go.
Thank you, Matt. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.